You are watching my favorite YouTube channel. It's Chillmonger, big Star Wars week. Because right now, as we speak, a celebration is ongoing in London. And instead of talking about that, I still got to pay attention to this Mandalorian episode. In a good way, though. And I'm being joined by Danny from Comic Chat.
What up, bro?
Ooh, I don't got my headphones in right. Now I got them in right. So, I was just telling these people, we're going to get into the celebrations talk because that's probably more important than this Mandalorian episode. But we could probably crank out this Mandalorian review in 15 minutes? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
It begins with this love life of a what are these? One of them is a Mon Calamari, right?
Yeah,
What's
one of
the
them.
other one there? The
I don't know
Coral?
what that is. I've never seen that before, but I know she liked goldfish because they was feeding her goldfish.
Hey, that's cool at least. That's creative, showing us
Yeah,
them in a tank. I guess they're like aqua creatures. They can't be
yeah,
too far away from their land or their water. That's
yeah,
cool. Like they added a lot. Now
yeah.
it's a love story. One cool aspect of it is when she's speaking to this Mandalorian and this guy actually comes out. This this was a bounty. Back in the first episode, or the first season, I should say, there was a bounty for a creature better. There was a bounty for a creature that was a Mon Calamari. It was from a high noble. It was like a son, and it was missing. And Din said, "No, I don't want that. Give me another bounty."
Yeah.
And it turns out like that Bryce Dallas Howard episode from that season came to fruition here, and
Yep.
we got some follow up on that. So
Mm.
at least that's world building, isn't it?
I agree. I
Like
agree.
that's cool.
I think
I
she's
mean,
been one of the better directors because she probably gets some tutelage from her dad since he's a very good director. So I think she's. I like her episodes. They aren't bad. The Taika Waititi's I try to stay away from, but hers are pretty
Taika
good.
Waititi did the finale for season one.
Mm, but I don't like the way he did. How they had kind of throwing around Baby Yoda and making stormtroopers like they couldn't shoot all that kind of stuff and making little cracking jokes and stuff. I didn't really care for all that.
This is acceptable.
Yeah. But
In the episode, the Mandalorians that meet them are none other than our girl, Casca Reeves, aka
mm,
Mercedes Monet. And she didn't have that many lines. She's not a great actress.
yeah.
The
Ain't she a
lines that,
wrestler?
yeah, Sasha
Yeah.
Banks.
Yeah, Sasha Banks. That's what I thought.
She got two names. She got her WWE name, her stage name from there, and then she's got her new name because she left the company. If you know how those contracts are, right? They are
Yeah.
branded.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, if you're not using your real name, it's over. Or if you're not using a name that you used prior to the company, there is no way you can retain the rights, even if it is your name. Cody
Damn.
Rhodes, right? You know
Yeah.
his name is Cody Runnels. Virgil Runnels is the name of his
Yeah.
dad, even though he went by Dusty Rhodes. So he goes by Cody Rhodes. You would think when he leaves, he can be Cody Rhodes outside, but no, he began his career in the WWE. So thankfully, Cody is his true name, but Rhodes is the gimmick name, and they held on to that trademark even when they weren't using him, even though he was gone
Wow.
from the company. They
That is
had to wait for it
crazy.
to expire before he could say he was Cody Rhodes. But
That
anyways,
is crazy.
and it's just nuts. And then he goes back to the company. It's not pretty. What's going on, General Zod? It's mongering time, is it? We got these Diesel in the building. Mercedes Varnado. He's a big fan of Grease. Tell me more. Tell me more. You like that movie?
Greece?
Yeah.
I've only watched a long time or two. It's all right. It's okay. Nothing that I have to watch again. Nothing I probably will watch again.
Agreed. Mandalorian, we do watch again. So it's a self-contained episode. When Din Djarin and when Bo-Katan arrive on this planet and they have the little chit chat, as
Mm-hmm.
soon as I saw these doors open up and I saw, okay, it's a party
Ooh,
and we
yeah.
got this cameo and this cameo
Yeah.
here, I
A
I
lot of people
know
did
this.
not like that.
Why not?
Well, some people, they got that body shaming against Lizzo. I mean,
Uh,
they don't. I mean, I don't have a problem with her, but Jack Black, he definitely when I think of Star Wars, I don't think about him. He doesn't come to mind. In this comedy, it kind of hit and misses depending on what type of movie he's in. But it didn't ruin the episode for me because they didn't give us a lot of them. Sometimes Jack Black can get too over the top and stuff if you give him enough time, but he didn't. He kind of stayed somewhat restrained compared to some things I've seen him in. So I didn't mind it.
performance wise and attitude wise, everyone's going to be like subjective tastes. Most people disagree with the inclusion of Jack Black. Okay. And even me, I feel like it's weird, but whatever. Bill Burr won me over, and I was like, that's a weird choice. But he made it work with his character Mayfield, right?
Yep.
I just mean to say that when I see them, and I know that their schedules are busy ones, and they're not going to be available for every single episode of every single week. They're not going to be here. I know this is a one time we're going to visit this planet. Lizzo is not on speed dial to reprise her role as the Duchess.
That's correct.
And Jack Black, and he's playing what, Pizar, whatever his name was. We're not going to see him again after this. So I'm like, all right, we'll just have these non-important characters who are not reoccurring show up. I hope they don't take too much time. And they took like 10 minutes of our time. They had a scene in the beginning, and then see at the end.
If they'd give us a whole 30 minutes of that kind of stuff, and then he get a little ridiculous, and then she get, I never seen her act before, so I don't know what her range is or what her,
you do now,
or her quirks may be. I don't know, but I didn't get too much Jack Black to be like, this is crazy. So I don't mind the special appearances and stuff, like the old boy from Back to the Future. Perfect, just enough time. I was not upset with the amount of screen time. So kudos if you can get the big names in there, man, and get some nostalgia going. I don't have a problem with it.
The pace is on, the storytelling is off. LOL, not a big Grease fan. I'm just chopping up film history with the kids. Okay. You're talking about something in Discord that happened. Ignore that, everyone else. Or join the Planet Fanatics Discord. General Zod says, not the cameo. Not the camo or cameo? What do you think he means here?
I think he means cameo. Must be.
It wasn't it. Look, the Doc Brown cameo that we got, which was somewhere down here.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like, you get to see him, and it wasn't nothing. He was a separatist, so that kind of is world building and reminding us that, yes, that little Clone War thing that we had a few years ago, just because it's 10 years later, it don't mean that it's not more than 10 years. It's like 30 years later. It doesn't mean that it's not relevant anymore in this galaxy far, far away. So it maintains a little bit of continuity from the olden days. But honestly, from this moment here, let's say here at 8 minutes and 50, not all the way down to this mission here where they arrive, it was like self-contained, like I keep saying, 35 to 8 minutes. So that was what's the math when you minus 35 by 8? That's 27 minutes. Yeah. 27 minutes of this was basically fluff. It didn't need to. None of it will pay off. I don't think he's gonna go back and find some droids because he's gonna need an army. Maybe that will happen in the new movie that Dave Filoni is directing. We need horses. All right, let's go to that planet with the droids and let's get them. Maybe that happens. I have my doubts though.
What I do think is gonna pay off is that those renegade Mandalorians, so to speak. I think they're the ones that broke out Moff Gideon. That's what I think it is. I think we're gonna see that.
These specific mercenaries that are on screen right here. Wow!
You remember how the ship was shot up? And they said it was Beskar on there. They said that's Mandalorians. So I think it's that group there.
Nah, it doesn't necessarily mean it's Mandalorians because he had control of Mandalore when he did that big siege that they talked about in the past. He may have obtained some Beskar.
How in the world did the Mandalorians get an Imperial cruiser?
Oh, that's the way that they roll. I think we saw them get the Imperial cruiser last season, didn't we? They got something.
I don't recall them getting a ship that big. I mean,
they got a ship from a bad guy. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't that one, but they definitely got something. And I can believe that they were capable of getting another one also. I'm not mad at that. I don't have any questions about these guys. I just don't think. Listen, remember in Avatar: The Last Airbender when the Daily were following Zuko's sister, Azula? Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, those are Earthbenders. Why are they working for the Fire Nation when they should be with the Earth Nation? I don't know. Azula is such a boss villain that she attains people who were from another nation. Same thing here. Moff Gideon is such a boss villain. He's going to obtain some Beskar and maybe even obtain some Mandalorians who under his hire. A few,
it's
but
possible.
Not these. Yeah.
I ain't going to say that's not impossible, but based on what's that guy that Bo-Katan defeated in combat? I can't think of his name.
Are you talking about Axe Wolves?
Yeah, Axe Wolves. I think that, to me, like, because he was like, when they were in the middle of getting that prince, whatever, he's like, we get another bounty in such and such sector. So I think they just go around just doing different things. And I think one of their bounties, possibly, I don't have any evidence other than the Beskar remains on the ship, is that they probably broke out Moff Gideon. That's what I'm thinking. I could be totally wrong.
Oh, it's a theory, right? Like you're open to thinking your thing. I'm open to thinking my thing. We got a tiebreaker down here who's going to tell us at the end of the Mandalorian episode last week. They said that's Beskar. Do you believe that it's these Mandalorians who we got to see? Are they the ones who freed Moff Gideon?
It'd be too obvious that those would be the ones because they were basically the hired guns in that episode, and it highlighted how they were the hired guns. It would just be too easy for them to be the ones who released Moff Gideon. It story wise, I think that'll just be. I don't know. I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. I want it to be a surprise, somebody that or a sect that we haven't heard of in a while, maybe since Rebels or something like that. It'd just be too easy if it's Death Watch. That's just, I mean, or the what was the name of that? It's not Death Watch.
Not Death Watch, but
you know what I'm. Yeah. It'd just be too easy. So I don't think it's them. I think it's another set that was probably originally from Mandalore that got pissed off at all the things that was going on in the Civil War and did their own thing somewhere else, and those are the ones who got Moff Gideon off. It'd be just too easy for a parallel for me storytelling wise.
And do they wear helmets? This new group?
No, they don't wear helmets because they're. I know I watch a lot of Screen Crush and heavy spoilers, and one thing that they keep pointing out is that there's a Mandalorian in the opening credits with the red beam on him, but his helmet is on. So I don't think that this set takes off their helmet. I think that there's an offset of Mandalorian.
You mean like in that intro where they go all of the helmets right before Star Wars, the one that I hate. So,
so I don't think so. I want to see someone totally different just come out of the blue. Not totally different, but still be canon a part of the story. But someone that you're just not expecting, because that's too easy. It's just way too easy storytelling wise. So
there's a theory too that armor has something to do. She's kind of putting the chess pieces together that she may be behind all that stuff too. So she may be secretly working with Moff Gideon. Because I don't really fully trust her all completely.
Well, this is the way.
Well, this would be interesting.
I would love.
Would you be so this? You gotta have the helmet on. Gotta have the helmet on. You gotta go to the Lake Minnetonka, so to speak, and get bathed in that stuff. Then she goes and tells the very person, "Take your helmet off." So I think that she got some kind of ulterior motive. I don't know what it is yet, but she's not clearly off my board as far as being suspicious about maybe doing some double dealing.
The only reason why I have some pushback on the armor just a little bit is because they're basically like a religious sect. You know what I mean? It's kind of like people in. I'm just going to put this out. It's like people who practice Christianity and people who are Jews. You know what I mean? They're same God, different ways of doing things. You know what I mean? So that's
all in Christianity, all in Judaism.
But what I'm saying is that there's things that one set does is totally different than another set does. You can't even go to a Pentecostal church and they do things differently in a Baptist church. You know what I mean? It's just the way that set does things. And to me, that set does things completely different. Bo-Katan's group, you know what I'm saying, was totally different than her sister's pacifist group. You know what I mean? So there's this.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I got the cue on cue. I'm ready. She told her sister that.
Clips. Yeah, you know what I mean? So there's so many different dynamics within the Mandalorians. Let's explore more of them. You know what I mean? So I'm totally down for like a. What if it's a set that a pacifist set that they got Moff Gideon off that was part of her sister's, pacifist group. You know what I mean? So there's all kinds of angles that you could tie into this, and I'm ready for it.
D Steel, I believe he is. I believe in this. I'm going to use this example. I believe Moff Gideon is going to be Loki, and Thrawn is going to be Thanos. That's what I
Oh, like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So Zod saying what's up? Oh, wait, I skipped ahead. Okay, so I found it sus that Lizzo and Jack Black were surrounded by food.
Wow.
We got 2 episodes left.
I said that on my review. I was like, it is so funny that they had Lizzo with the snacks.
You should have said it's about damn time.
Oh, this should be episode 1 or 2 or maybe 3, but not episode 6 out of 8 episodes. You know,
I've got a theory. Well, I heard a theory from a friend of mine that said that this season here, and along with Boba Fett, and along with something else, I can't remember the third show, is setting up this movie that one of the movies that they announced at Star Wars Celebration. So if it's doing that and it leads to that, then I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I believe it was announced at the Star Wars. I can't think of the
Celebration.
Star Wars Celebration. Yeah, that Dave Filoni is going to do this. I think is it
whole
Old
Mandalorian
Republic
movie.
or yeah, it's I can't
3
think of
different
the
movies.
movie. Yeah, but he's going to be heading the movie that's going to pop up. So
we know that it's going to culminate this
yeah.
story. There's no title of it given, and I don't even think we have a date of when, because we don't even know how many seasons of or Mandalorian season 3 is the final.
It's my understanding that Mandalorian season, the Boba Fett and the Ahsoka show that's coming out in August is going to lead to that Mandalorians type movie whenever it comes out. And there's going to be one with Rey that's going to continue from Skywalker, the Skywalker
Rise of Palpatine.
Rise of Skywalker, yeah.
Rise of Palpatine.
There's going to be, and what I was told, because I didn't see it myself firsthand, this is all secondhand information, is that basically it's going to be she's going to start her own Jedi Academy and start teaching that kind of stuff. So I don't know. And then the first one is going to be something like from the Old Republic or something.
It's going to be the first Jedi, or like the beginning of that. And boy, am I worried about that. Well, I'll finish that sentence. I just want to keep things structured. We are still talking about this Mandalorian episode. The fight scene here was kick butt. I loved it.
Yeah, it was dope. Very dope.
The jetpacks, the rock. Look at this drop kick. There is just Cosca Reeves was a little bit concerned. We got stabs. We got flamethrowers. We got some talking that was epic. I have to skip ahead because I don't want to be like flagged or something by Disney. But like, they went all out.
One of the things I was like, why didn't Din Djarin have on his jetpack? I noticed that immediately when they get on the train.
Oh yeah?
Why you ain't got your jetpack on? That's like one of your primary tools, and he didn't have it on.
I didn't really pay attention.
I pay attention. Because when he wears a jetpack on, he has a short cape. When he doesn't, he wears that long cape.
I think he probably is kind of funny. I'm going to about to say left it in the car, but left it in the ship because he knew that he wasn't going to fight. I think that's what it really is. He knew that was not his fight, and that it was up to Bo-Katan. You know what I mean? And she needs to handle business. And he already kind of knew what he was going to do.
No, but I'm saying when they originally came to the planet and got off at the first flight deck, he never had his jetpack on the whole episode. Oh, that's like one of the Mandalorian staples.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
Bizarre.
What's up, Zod?
Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? This man bothered me in the middle of watching Grease, The Rise of the Pink Ladies, which I can tell you is hilariously, tragically bad. And I gotta say, I can't believe it. I love it. It's so historically inaccurate. I'm laughing through the whole thing. I go, they made a perfect comedy. I love it.
You can't be serious.
No, I am. But no, I wanted to throw my 2 cents in. Cameos for the sake of cameos is ridiculous. Okay, we had this happen in Game of Thrones. Did we need what's his name to essentially play a character in medieval times?
Aaron Rodgers.
Jack Black.
Who's the singer?
Lizzo.
No, I'm talking about Game of Thrones.
I thought
the singer who appeared.
Oh, Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, Ed
and
Sheeran.
Coldplay.
Who do you play in that? Ed Sheeran. Now let's go to Star Wars. they weren't really playing anything different, but their wacky personalities as far as it goes. The only one I would say who fit as a cameo was Christopher Lloyd, because he was actually playing like someone different from his persona. That's the first thing. Second thing, this episode is perfectly fine. Like, I don't
Okay.
care what people say from a technical standpoint, from like how fun the episode is.
Mhm.
Nothing's wrong with that. I think what the issue is, and I said this on my channel, is that the storytelling is out of order. This is not an episode 6 story, even if it's a side quest. This is like episode 2 or 3, not 6 out of 8 episodes. This does nothing except for the last couple minutes advance the story forward by like a hair. Like
No,
every
it was
episode that's
considerable.
happened. Just
I
like
think-
every episode before that.
I
That's the issue.
I disagree. I disagree for the simple fact is that you need a palate cleanse from everything that happened all the way up until episode 6. You needed
But-
an episode. You needed an episode that was kind of like fun. It was
But that was
it
the
was a-
thing, though. The episodes that happened before that, none of them advanced the story. We got a whole episode of two people walking and talking that I don't care about. That I literally fell asleep 3 times trying to watch with the scientist and the lady dude. And I get the point of it. That had to do with Moff Gideon. I get the connection. But like I said, the execution and where it's placed in the story, everything feels like it's placed off. Like if you look at Mandalorian season 1 and season 2,
Yeah.
even the side quests, they feel like linearly in the storytelling form, they fit in the order that they were supposed to be in. Even season 1 had that wasted time episode, like the heist one with Bill Burr. Love Bill Burr. That still, to me, to this
Yo,
day,
did-
Phil,
Watch your tongue.
that still feels like a
Mm.
waste of time until you finally get back to season 2, where they pay off that, oh, he was a stormtrooper or whatever. So maybe these episodes will pay off later. But just the way they have the story and the way they have episodes placed and structured, it doesn't feel coherently written this year. It feels like all over the place, like they're not really sure what direction they want to go in. And it's an odd choice, seeing we're 6 episodes in of an 8-episode show, and I have no idea who the main antagonist is. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be following.
Moff Gideon.
But is it? Because there's this thing with Mandalore. There's stuff with Grogu. I mean, like, you get what I'm saying? There's no focus. Like, season 1 and season 2, I knew. Moff Gideon's the bad guy. That's the dude. Baby Yoda, right? We got to get him to the temple. That's the mission. Even with all the side stuff, we knew what the mission was. And then they just kind of added to it. You get what I'm saying? Like, they added little things to it. But we always had one general focus. This season kind of opened up, and it felt there was no general focus, no direction. So I'm watching different episodes, and I'm going, okay, it's Moff Gideon, but wait, there's this like thing with all of these Mandalores and Bo-Katan. Okay, it's the Mandalores. And then it's like, no, we're back to Moff Gideon.
Then they threw a
And
curveball
then
with the
Wacky
pirate.
Planet.
But the pirates and stuff was kind of attached to the Mandalorian's liberation.
Yes, and
At first,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Quickly, I see where you can get a little confused. I thought that pirate was going to be the main baddie
Yeah,
for a minute.
like
But
I was
then-
like, oh, cool. They're doing pirates this. I'm down with that, right? I thought that episode was very good. It was very engaging. I liked it, and that was probably one of my favorite fight scenes in the season when they all came in and just messed those dudes up. I loved that episode because it showed like how awesome the Mandalorians were, considering we had 2 episodes where they were idiots and they stayed on Murder Beach for God knows how long for no apparent reason. I will never get behind that. Like, who the hell wants to join the Mandalorians? These poor kids, like, go walk towards the water and get blessed. Like, yo, who finds these planets? Like, but anyways, that's not the point. Like, I enjoyed the visuals and stuff like that, and I even said, like, episode 1, cool, I was down with it. Episode 2, I'm like, all right, let's see where this going. Episode 3, I fell asleep a few times and then watched it, and then episode 4, I'm like, okay, what's happening here? There's a lot of Bo-Katan, but I don't see a whole lot of Mandalorian Mando Din. Like, he's just kind of fading away. And it's just odd choices because it's like switching back and forth between them, and when you do that in a show, it confuses the audience. And I'm not the only one who said this. Like, general, my friends that don't follow Star Wars at all, right? They like The Mandalorian. They don't really care about the lore. They just like this show, and they know nothing like we do with the history and things like that. So they're going like, dude, I have no clue what's going on this season. And that's bad because your general audience can't even follow the structure of the story. That's what I'm saying. Like, everything's just slightly off with it. And it's not to say it's bad because I would disagree with anyone. I don't think the quality dropped at all. I just think the way they structured the story this year is not coherent at all.
I'll take that.
I got some pushback to that because I'm your general audience. I don't know all Star Wars lore in the books and in comics and all that. You asked me about Deadpool, totally different story. This, I'm gonna be honest with you, but I don't. I look at it as storyboard process. It's not like they're taking a bunch of stories within an episode and then trying to weave them around. There's different stories. This actually is getting linear. So you have the story that sets up Moff Gideon. You have the story that sets up Thrawn or whoever. Not saying that, but you have these different stories that goes that's fitting. Like you got the cloning thing that started in episode 1. I mean, season 1. Because remember, the whole thing was to get Grogu away from the scientists because they were getting ready to try to use the cloning process, obviously, for Emperor Palpatine. We already, we kind of fit that together. You have to be able to fit this linear narrative that's going to go with the trilogy of the sequels. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So these are integral parts that make sense, because a lot of the things about the sequels is that a lot of things don't make sense. How the hell Palpatine came back? How the hell this happened? How the hell that happened? So shows like The Mandalorian is giving you little nuggets. Yes, you might be generally thrown away because you might have a side quest here. How many side quests did we have in season 1 of The Mandalorian? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I do agree. It was a lot of fetch missions, but to me, each and every one of those still linked to the other. It's like
these are linking to the other ones. I'm with the way that I'm looking at it, like even the side quest to go when they met Lizzo and Jack Black, which I absolutely love because I love Jack Black. You know what I mean? I think he's
didn't think you'd be interested.
Most definitely very much interested. I was having a great time with him, Christopher Lloyd, and Lizzo. Now, with that being said, it was something that had to get back to the Darksaber. That Darksaber had to get back to Bo-Katan. We already knew Din Djarin couldn't hold he couldn't hold the Darksaber to save his life for real. He did get it took by the little creepy monster looking thing when he went to go bathe himself in Mandalore, part of the religion. So all of these things are fitting so they can take back Mandalore. All of these things are culminating to whatever Dave Filoni is doing. And if I know how Dave Filoni is working, he did this with Rebels. You know what I mean? And Rebels, if you know what I'm saying, ended up being a very great show. So I'm giving it the patience and the time and letting these things weave itself in. I know we probably like, oh, we need to get to this. We need to get to that. Why isn't this singular? Why isn't this? People was having the same problem with the Super Mario Brothers movie because it's just linear and not a story. So we got to pick a lane. Is it going to be linear or is it going to be a storyboard?
I think the best, my issue, and it's because I do writing, like right now I'm currently working on writing a book. So I work a lot with story structure and things like that, especially when I do my reviews. Like, I will go hard and disagree with people. I'm not on the train of hating everything just to hate it or whatever else, or I'm going to dismiss it, but I will break it down. And if I look at the structure just structurally from season to season, it is vastly different. And it comes from a place where I feel like, to me, and this is just a theory, this felt like a 1 or 2 season show that did so well that they're trying to stretch the story beyond that. I got to be honest with you, I don't think there ever was supposed to be connections to this other stuff. I think the show did so well.
Yeah, from the beginning, you're right.
Yeah, that they're trying, because if you, and I get what you're saying, Jay, and I think you make some excellent points, but if you look at the setup and layout from season 1 to 2, that felt like the writing had a purpose and a place it knew it wanted to go to. You know what I'm saying? Like even the side quest missions, everything was both linear and kind of stretched out, right? You had your linear stories, but they all seemed to fit. Except for maybe a few episodes here and there. Like I said, the first appearance of Bill Burr, that episode's still kind of out of place. And I called that out in my first season review. Love Bill Burr, but that episode to me is highly out of place in season 1. And it always feels that way. But for the most part, the story structure within itself felt as if it had purpose. This season feels like they threw together another story, and maybe it comes together in like a season 4 or something like that. But it felt like they wrote themselves into a corner, and now they wanted to continue the story arc, and there was no story left. It's like if you extended like Breaking Bad or any great story that's supposed to have a beginning, middle, and ending, and they just keep on going. That's what it felt like. It feels like to me. Like they had this, and this, and then it was supposed to end there. And someone up top said, "No, we're making lots of money, so you keep it going." And Dave and then went back and they were like, okay, how are we going to make this work and connect with everything else? And it's not to say, because the quality hasn't dropped, my love for the characters haven't dropped.
You said this. Yes, I got it. I got you.
Yeah,
covered. I want to introduce SSJ K. Sanctum to the stream.
What up, K.
Yo.
We were just talking about the episode that we just had. The last part of the episode is when the Darksaber is given to Casca, from Bo-Katan, from our boy Din Djarin. She accepts it. Everyone of these Mandalorians believed that the captor of Din Djarin was defeated by Bo-Katan, which makes her rightful. Are you okay with this?
No.
Oh God, we got 2 of them.
Wait. Let's just make this clear. What's the time frame from season 2 to 3?
We don't know that, but we know that Luke spent time with Grogu, just not an exact year. We don't know.
The word I heard was 2 years.
I heard that, and then he walked it
back.
back.
I heard 2 years too. Not saying that is, but that's what I heard. All right, if that's the case. So then for 2 years was still swinging that saber like a baby.
That could be a problem.
Now, okay, all right, fine. We never knew where Din was going to go with the saber. It's just we didn't know if he was going to decide to finally okay, let's try to rule Mandalore or something. I don't know. We don't know. But just this way they gave it to Bo-Katan, I thought it was in the earlier episodes this season. Since Din had this realization, he should have just gave it back to her in episode 2. When he got captured by the thing, he should just, because it's like, okay, he still has it, so maybe he's gonna go somewhere with it, but nothing. I'm not saying it had to be Din with the saber, but all right, if you're gonna give it to Bo-Katan, let them fight, and they don't have to kill each other. Only person, the opponent has to yield. Moff Gideon yielded, and you can get the saber. I thought the way she got the saber was underwhelming. That was like, oh, by default, since he beat me, then it's hers technically. Then it's like, okay, why didn't you just give it to her in episode 2?
Because it carried more weight at this particular point in time than it did if they were just by themselves.
I think it would have carried more weight to have them fight, honestly, because she represents a new ideal of what Mandalore should be, and he represents the old ideals. And they had, for me, it would have been a better character arc if the two would have fighted it out. And I agree with K-Dot. You don't have to have them kill each other, because even when they get in the history and lore of the Darksaber, people have won the saber without having to kill their opponent. But it was like they were too scared to have the two fight, because I think it would have been, thematically, it would have worked much better, because it would have been like old versus new, and it could have even symbolized that Mandalore has to change its ways. So you have 2 ways where that works, because symbolically it's a representation of the new way of Mandalore should be, and then thematically they win the.
I know.
I know, I got deep. I'm just saying.
I think
that would have been a good
I disagree. I disagree with you for the simple fact is that he didn't want that thing in the first place. Let's keep it real. So even if he would have fought, if Bo-Katan were like, all right, let's square up, dude. He was like, you know what, cut here, you can have it.
And,
You know what I
well,
mean? Because it ain't that
Didn't he-
it
didn't
wasn't.
he try
It
to
was
give it to
never
her?
and
that
that's
deep
and,
for him.
Didn't he
It
try to give it to her last
He
season?
tried to
Yeah,
give it to her,
she
and
and
she
that
said,
was
no, I have to
it,
win it.
and technically that was his way out when she came and that's why I was saying that story point. And I get what you're saying, Zod, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. I always come from an actor's point of view because that's where I came from. So when I'm looking as a character, I'm like, look, if I don't want something, how can I get rid of it without messing up the lore of this? And him getting snatched up by that one-eyed thing, which was awesome. I'm not gonna lie, that thing was awesome. Him that was just his way out, and then he was able to give it back to her. I'm not mad at that whatsoever. I thought that was awesome and a good out for him because he couldn't swing it anyway. So I don't, you know what I mean? I don't have a problem with it.
and look,
Does everyone
this
here
why I
before
say in
we-
season 2, this why I say, since I think this is what they should have done in general with this, because this would have been more in character with Din. Season 2, at the end of it, he tries to give Bo the saber. Bo goes like, "No, I need to earn it in combat." Then we know he don't care about all this stuff. He just want to be with his son and make sure he's safe and go be a bounty hunter. He drops the sword right in front of her. She has the option to pick it up. Doesn't mean she earned it, but she just picks it up. Season 3, you have Bo trying to constantly challenge Din so she can rightfully earn it, because the story behind it is important too.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah,
That's why I think
her.
Din just holding it made no sense from jump, because you don't want it while you still got it. Just drop it. Just get rid of it. It don't matter.
I think what you're saying right now, I've heard people saying it's the Bo-Katan instead of the Mandalorian. If they would have let him get beat on his own show, that would have been so much more negative stuff they're talking about now. They're already saying that right now, Bo-Katan is leading the show, that she's getting more screen time than he is. I guess in some aspects you could say that, but if he was to lose on his own show to Bo-Katan,
look at episode 2. Look at episode 2. He was struggling with them little minions. He got jumped by that little critter that looked like General Grievous.
they didn't take
he
nothing.
didn't be getting beat up a lot in the show in general.
Well,
yeah, but do you also fast forward to when he went to that prison and shit? He kicked everybody ass in that prison to get those people out that double crossed him. So when the first season 1 and 2, they were trying to build him up as a badass. You don't like a badass when you get whipped by the person that's like a.
But see, that's the thing, because I know Bo's a better fighter than Din. Din will.
What?
Bo will fight everyone who thinks
you got it laid.
We all know Bo will body Din in combat.
Oh my!
Now, Din will body Boba Fett in combat, but Bo easily can defeat Din in combat. I mean, look, it's true.
Yo,
I like Din, but Bo is way better than him in combat. I like Din.
Without the consent of the council or the Senate, he did this.
You must have got a million.
No, I agree with K-Dot, because Bo-Katan's storyline has been laid down since what? Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yep.
Like, she was raised as a kid to fight in the ways of Mandal. Like, she's been fighting dudes twice her size. Like, there is actual story evidence to back up she's a certified badass. Now, I don't know who would win, but I was saying that's why we could have settled that with 2 of them fighting, and maybe even you don't have to beat the Mandalorian. They could just fight to almost a tie, like when what's her face came in, who was the shock trooper there, Gina Carano, right? No one won that fight, but when you watch the end, they both had weapons to each other's throat. You could end it like something like that, or where she disarms him and pulls the Darksaber and puts it to him, and he yields. There's still cool ways to do it where.
But why
the
when he's
person
going to
puts
give it up anyway? But you don't even have to. I feel dead, because if I ain't got to, I'm not. So look, here's an out. I don't want to fight. There's more at stake than just. Now I understand her fighting with her old group. I get that. But when it comes to Din and what his overall arc and goal is, because I'm starting to see that. It wasn't no use to be going to go fight her for the Darksaber. Hey, man, here you go. I'm done. That's all I'm saying. There is, I mean, yeah, you probably would want that to see a little bit more action in the show, but if you're going to get the same results, skip past that. Let's go. Let's go to something else. There's already an episode where people don't like it because Lizzo, Christopher Lloyd, and Jack Black was in it, and people are having a hissy fit over that. You know what I mean? Let's get this story over with. Let him get the Darksaber. One more fight would have just been too much, and let's keep it pushing.
We kind of needed it.
The Lizzo and like the little that was far from the issue of the episode. People just tripping because they just a little chunky. They tripping because of that. But I think I think no. That's
later.
That's what people are tripping for. I don't think people should be tripping off that just because they just chubby, but
It's against the creed.
He got all the
way.
It's true. For me, what bothered me a little bit more in this episode was this little.
This isn't about you.
This little.
I'm going overboard.
You're abusing it now.
One of those for
Was
everything.
this little?
Okay, now what bothered you?
This little side mission. Look. We're trying to get to the Mandalorians, the last 3 episodes. Like, we need to focus on the finale, right? Get to that finale. And okay, so the reason Jack Black thought Mando and Bo would have been perfect was because it's part of their culture and their religion to walk around with weapons and stuff. People with weapons are not allowed, but since it's part of their culture, you can't really tell them not to have it, right? So okay, if that's the case, you could just told the Mandalorians to come up in there and do what they did. Because if this was a side quest that it was like it made sense for them to do it, it just for me this didn't work. I was like they're really forcing them to do this.
It was
but they had specific rules why they couldn't do it. Like if they couldn't have an army, but they could hire people to do such and such. Those people that they had to hire such and such couldn't come on the planet. So it was some kind of
but they just
area.
Kill some time though. Just like the whole concept of Bo-Katan fighting with ex-wolves.
Episodes going to kill some time.
They contrived that in the first episode when Bo-Katan was explaining, well, my team, they're all mercenaries now. Okay, but then the first time we see your team, you guys actually make good with each other. You just needed a reason to have a fight, for a reason to have Din say that line about why the Darksaber belongs to her. They kind of like, it's a whole lot of self-contained stuff. It's a whole lot of like, we only introduced this thing just to wrap it up 6 episodes later. And I do have to criticize that. I don't much like for it. I like other episodes where they would go to a planet and you would be like, okay, he's on Tatooine, but that's not for nothing. The relationship with Peli Motto still comes into play. Boba Fett. Boba Fett was there at the ending of the episode. We got to hear his spurs, and he resurrected, what's her name?
Yeah.
Everything led to something else.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what's her name, Tim?
Fennec Shan.
Thanks. Yeah, the whole cyber Fennec Shan. And so things were more meaningful than this is here. But there are 2 more episodes where they could kill it, right? Like, I'm not going to give up on Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau because of that. But that is the ending of our...
But they're kind of in a damn if you do, damn if you don't, because you just say right now that you're kind of upset, kind of sort of about how they did stuff. But if they would have done it without explaining it and paying it off here, then comments would have been, well, how'd that happen? They didn't explain it such and such. So when they explain something and then they pay it off, you're mad with the way they do it. But if they pay it off and then don't explain it, then you still... So
here's what I'd have done
how do they
different.
fix that?
To get the Darksaber to Bo-Katan in a safe way, I would just have Moff Gideon get his revenge on Din Djarin. Bo-Katan hears about that. Wait, Moff Gideon has the saber again? Bless. And now she runs over to the good guys, the armor and everyone, and she brings Axe Wolves and Koskari's and the whole crew with her.
So you're going to kill off the Mandalorian?
No.
I'm saying she would bring her team because she would not have broken up with them.
I thought you just said Moff Gideon had his revenge on Din Djarin.
Now, he wouldn't have killed Din, but he would have bested him and retrieved the saber. And she'd be so happy to hear that. And then then on, they could have united the Armor's faction with Din's faction. We could have still had the stuff with the pirates, the stuff with Navarro, the stuff with the living by the lake of that dangerous alligator creature. And they could have had all those missions happen. With minus
Well, yeah, I'm not getting baptized in that water.
Like, for me, the season was worth it because I got the cool name Murder Beach. So, you want to visit Murder Beach? It's on some kind of desert planet with giant crocodiles. Don't bring your kids there.
Hey,
Don't swim in
they
the
did
lake.
eat good after that episode, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Tim's talk is in the building. Tamario.
Tim?
Okay.
It's
Let's
me,
talk
Tamario.
about the first of the 3 movies. I guess we should speak about the one that's more recent, and that's the one directed by Charmaine O'Boyd Chinoy.
Well, I thought you about to say Sinead O'Connor.
Tim, what is your perception on this? Did you already know this movie and it was just a confirmation?
No, this guy, obviously we hear a lot of rumors, but I'm pretty excited the fact they're going 25,000 years back in the past, so they can't ruin canon essentially. Right? We're talking about the Dawn of the
You're talking
Jedi,
about the
right?
the James Mangold movie. Okay, that'll be our first topic. The James Mangold movie going back in the beginning of time. What do you think about that?
No, I've been calling for this. I was like, man, let's do something that we're not going to ruin canon. We're not going to destroy our legacy characters just to uplift other characters. So I think this is a great opportunity to get Star Wars back in their favor. The only bad thing about it is the details are super vague and they don't have any concrete announced dates, which is kind of alarming. Like for any of the stuff, even Ahsoka, if you look at the announcements, doesn't have a concrete date. It says August, but
there's
it's
5
not,
Wednesdays in August.
So yeah, that's true. But I'm just saying overall, as far as films, we haven't had a film since 2019. They still don't have an exact date for us. So that but I do like this news for the Dawn of the Jedi.
Okay, you're worried about them not effing up legacy characters. They're gonna F up legacy. I'm worried about how you're gonna treat the Force. I mean, people dislike the medical. You're right.
The Metachlorians.
Yeah,
you're right. They could essentially bomb this whole thing because we're going to see how they created the lightsaber for the first time. So they have to handle this with care. But it's the person from Logan, right? Which Logan I love, but this film is super important. If you mess this up, I know Danny's a lot older than us and probably has like this more nostalgic feel to Star Wars, and if they mess this up for like the OG fans, man, wow, I mean, that's a lot of stuff.
It seems like no matter what you do, somebody's going to be upset about it. If they tell the story and even if they tell it exactly perfectly, it's going to be a set of people who's like, I don't like that. It should have been this. It should have been that. We're going to be right back here a year and a half later or whatever it is saying the same thing. And I think
I'm so sorry to hear that.
I think we need to get to a point where we just gotta we just gotta sit back. Let's watch it. Let's enjoy it. You know what I mean? Let's sit back and let's see what they do with it. You know what I mean? So that's just my personal take on it.
I was a child with the original Star Wars, but they're not my favorite.
Because I gotta jump out of here. I gotta take the little one to my mom's house. But I wanted to say that in a way I agree with Dre. Here's the thing with Star Wars and all of you people coming out and talking all this negative stuff. You know what the original argument it was before we had Twitter? Jar Jar Binks is the most terrible character and nobody likes the Metachlorians. Where's your argument now? Now everybody holds the original trilogy up in such high regard. You know what? I was there on an island back in episode 1 when I said, oh, I love this in episode 2 and 3, and everyone was like, oh, no, it sucks. Look at the cardboard acting. Now let's skip a couple of years. You know what? Those prequel trilogies aren't that bad, are they?
Great job, kid.
I like the prequel thing.
That's true.
It's very true. Very true.
Yeah, so I think you're right in a sense. The thing that is different from the arguments back then to the arguments we have now is people are so much more hateful and spiteful with the way that they put their words and how they word things. Like, you don't gotta like something, man, but it's just like with The Mandalorian. Every season, someone has complained about something really stupid. Now, I think universally, season 3's kind of found a weird place where everyone's got their nitpicks, but it's just like there's people coming out going, see, The Mandalorian was never good. Then why are you watching it? And that's the whole point, isn't it? It's just like people are gonna watch stuff just to watch it fail. And I'm not in that group of thinking. And I love James Mangold. He's a brilliant director. He's made some of the best movies. We're talking movies that were nominated for awards and won. Like, he's a good director and he cares about what he makes no matter what it is, and you could tell by Logan. Like, he might not be a comic book fan, but he cared about putting enough attention detail to the X-Men franchise and finishing out Logan's saga, and I think he did it better than anyone could have. And if he takes that kind of care and detail to Star Wars, then I think it's going to be great no matter what he comes out with, and I think that the legacy is safe. Now, who's going to interfere with what? What's going to have to be changed to fit into lore? That's where
Yeah.
Chillmonger comes in. It's like, okay, Lucas is still going to mandate some things. So it's like, are you going to let the creative be creative and give us their own vision? Or are you going to put your hands in the pot and tell them they can't do that? I think that's where you'll have the differences in story quality.
There's been some studio interference when Pablo Hidalgo stopped J.J. Abrams from destroying Coruscant because J.J. doesn't really like the prequels. Sometimes it's good, okay? Sometimes that editing note might actually be to the benefit of fans.
Yeah. It depends on who's saying what, who's monitoring what, and guess what? That's in every film, every franchise, every series. Man, I just want the best for Star Wars. I really like it, and you know what? I'll still watch it. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm done with Disney and then be reviewing the next 3 series. Like, that's not gonna happen. I like to give everything a fair shake and watch a couple episodes and see if it's for me, not just judge it off of a clip on the streaming service, like a trailer. Go, oh man, this is trash. Look what they did. I don't know what they did because I haven't seen the full show.
Exactly, I agree.
Yep.
So I think that's how we should handle it. And I'm glad to be on a panel like this where we're all spitting out ideas. Nobody's getting upset. Nobody's calling each other names. We're just all sitting here putting our heads together and seeing what we'd like to hope. So I
I'm happy
appreciate
to see you too.
That's my favorite scene too.
You got a clip for everything. It's awesome.
Do you have the one that says "One does not speak unless one knows"? That's my favorite line from this. Scene.
No.
Well, you was having a ball, Chill, when you was going through this, wasn't you?
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Oh my
It's
god!
the future.
But
Also,
thank
there's
you,
one this
everybody.
woman that's telling this man to shut the fuck up and go to fuck up mountain, whatever. Man, that shit is
Yeah, if they swore in Star Wars, I'd have that clip too.
man, that one is
Did
funny.
Ferrick?
Zod, you were on your way out. Thanks for coming. His channel is, well, it's long. It's like General Zod's Fandom Movie Zone or something like that.
General Zod's Fandom Zone. And if you want to see the most earth-breaking, ground-shaking, but never media show money taking, the man, the myth, the legend, the most electrifying YouTube in all of YouTube entertainment, come check out your favorite villain, General Zod, and prepare to kneel. Thank you very much for having
Hey
me on here.
Zod, we gotta do the power, man.
Oh yes, I have so much to say. We definitely,
Yep.
hit me up in the DMs. I got a lot to say about a couple of those iterations.
That'll work.
I see, Dre.
But thank you for having me on, and thank you.
And Ghost is still alive. Don't you forget that.
It may be. I was shot. It may
I think he is.
actually be. That would be wild.
I think he is.
But yeah, thank you everybody for having me on. I'll see y'all later.
Deuces.
All right,
Later,
man.
bro.
Any last takes on that movie from James Mangold that goes back to the way that the Force started? Let me throw this to K-Dot. We watched Attack on Titan, and we got to see the origin of where the Titan power came from. It was like that skeleton creature insect in the water, right? I don't know. That didn't enhance anything for me knowing where it started from. We watched Naruto. We know the source of that is like a tree, a chakra tree. That doesn't really enhance anything. I like things like we don't know, like
Well,
Avatar.
The all right, because in Attack on Titan, right, as important as the Titans are, the origin of how this conflict is started is really what matters. I mean, yes, Titans too, but the conflict of like
conflict
Marley,
is important. Why is this people group hating that
back
group?
and forth, the generational, this generational racism and stuff that started from it. But I mean,
I'm just asking, like, is the origin important? Now, in taking everything we know from those animes,
Force, yes.
Okay, it's important enough to get
like it needs. I'm not saying it needs to be some like super. I mean, I hope it gets into something deep and it ends up having some really good meaning with it.
What's up, bro?
But it needs to be good, like really good. The origin of it.
Yeah, it should be kind of biblical, right?
Mystery. Because the Force has always been this big mystery, right? Of like where it came from. Everybody has it, but some people have a greater chance of tapping into it, unlike others. You know, so it needs to be explained in a very good way. But it's James Mangold. Hopefully, the studio is not trying to ghost direct his movie. Hopefully, he gets to direct it because
that's not gonna happen.
That's the way I don't want that studio interference coming in, right? Because Logan, he really got to go off and do his own thing. Like that was all him. Hopefully Disney doesn't try to ghost direct.
Of the 3 movies announced, this is the one that's not going to happen. I feel like the Rey movie with Daisy Ridley, she appeared on stage. That movie's happening. It's so close to happening. It's happening.
That's
the,
what happened.
The Dave Filoni stuff. I mean, it's pretty essential for this Grogu Mandalore story to conclude. Okay, but that James Mangold beginning of the Force,
they can totally scratch. I think personally, just leave it alone. Don't even try and touch it. Because personally, I want to see. And while he doesn't own it, I think the only person who knows where the Force came from is like
George Lucas.
George Lucas. And I want to know. I'm not saying he need to come in here and like, you're not gonna buy it back. But if they're gonna do this, I really think they should.
He should read the script.
Do you? I mean,
they should heavily they should not let him direct it, but let him tell them where the Force came from, and they can handle the rest.
And I believe even with Rebels and Clone Wars and stuff, they had input from George Lucas with these shows and stuff like that. So it wouldn't surprise me if they go back and say, hey, let's sit down with the script, go over with Lucas. Let's talk about this thing. I want to make sure that I get what your original vision is for this and make this something special. I believe that they're going to do that because Disney's been taking a lot of L's in the media, not only from what they do from themselves, but from Star Wars for a minute. You know what I mean? And from Marvel now. It's just like Disney is getting that. I mean, Macho Man is coming off the top rope, and Disney's just just getting cut. So
gracious me.
So I believe that they're going to go to George Lucas and say, hey, I need a big favor from you, big dog. We need you on this. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna pull the jersey after Raptor, put it on one more time to give us a really great story. I believe that.
Well, they interviews with Filoni and Favreau, they say that they always consult with George Lucas, but how much input he has, I don't know. But now maybe they need to have a little bit more. Hey, look, I need to be there at least twice a week, whatever, to make sure that the ship is heading in the right direction. Because I agree with you, if they are taking a lot of L's, and if this one fail,
and
you may not be able to get the fans back.
And also,
they bought themselves a little bit. I'm sorry, kid. They bought themselves a little time with that Luke Skywalker moment, but that shit done about up.
Right.
Agree.
And I also do agree with Jer on that because, I mean, let's look at everything that came out of this prequel, not the sequel trilogy. Everything, Thrawn, all this stuff. While they have created some new characters like Rey, majority of this stuff is from the era when George had Star Wars under his control. The legend stuff, like majority of everything they're doing, that whole thing of how Sidious came back, while it was kind of different, but it's pretty much copied from Legends and stuff. So I wouldn't be shocked if they do ask George, hey, tell us what the origin of the Force is. We still going to do our own little thing, but just tell us the origin, pay you a little bit of money, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I think he'd be totally willing to
do it for free.
Yeah, he
would do it for free.
He chilling on his farm. He don't need no more money. He good.
I have a question here. The big the big dog in this is Kathleen Kennedy. Everyone's like obsessing about that.
Well,
When do
it's
you
so
think she's actually?
is those rumors about her true? Were those confirmed?
I'm not holding out much hope.
That's what I'm bringing up. Like, when, if those rumors are true, when is she gonna actually be stepping down? And do you think that's gonna help the overall brand kind of moving forward, so people can't like
I
say,
think it
"Oh,
will,
this
but
film sucks"
I
or
think
whatever,
she got
just
a
because
lot
she's a
of
part
dirt
of
on
it?
people because her ass should have been done gone.
Probably.
Perhaps you should let him speak.
Since Bob dropped,
like I have spoken.
since we saw Bob drop Victoria, who we didn't know about, but she was a huge figure. Like she been there day one with the MCU, so I wouldn't be shocked if Bob came in here, told Kathleen they possibly might demote her, who knows, or just get rid of her and give Dave her position, so he can have
Dave
creative.
Filoni?
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if he totally just takes out Kathleen and give Dave her position.
See, I don't think that
He already dropped Victoria.
But I don't know that Kathleen Kennedy's position as president of Lucasfilm is fitting for Dave. I would say Dave.
I'm not saying it has to be him, but anybody else,
or maybe John.
Make him just the leader of the creative aspect of things.
Yes.
Like the way Triple H is. Oh, you don't watch wrestling. Well, just creative stuff on the creative side. Dave Filoni runs everything. Thank you. But like the president, the business, and all that stuff. Find a nobody. Find Kathleen Kennedy's friend. Find anybody. Just make sure that person.
Even give it to Jon Favreau
if he's willing to take it.
I don't think Jon Favreau would do it because he's still a director. He's still a creative at heart. And so I don't think it's not like with the James Gunn situation where James Gunn is going to take care of the creative side and Peter Safran is going to take care of the business side. It's not like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when maybe they need to find that for Lucasfilms, you know what I mean? To find someone that's not Kathleen Kennedy to handle the business.
Or maybe they could
Dave and John.
Feige could do it.
But I think Feige got out. He got his own problems right now that he's trying to his own fires. So I don't even think he should do it. I think
I think they stripped his Star Wars movie as punishment for some of
they did, but I think it was more Chapek. The story I always heard was that when Chapek took over from Iger, he kind of let some of his friends go in there, and they weren't really creative and didn't give Feige the free reign like Iger did. Now that Iger's back in place, I think that we may see a more cohesive and more better put together phase, because phase 4, everybody agrees that is the worst out of the phases.
It is.
So I think now once we see Kevin Feige back in his position, Bob Iger said, "Here, take back over." I hope, and I'm thinking we'll see a better phase. Phase 5 will be better than phase 4.
And as far as Star Wars, that's exactly what they need to do. Get someone in there just to handle the business side. Let Dave, Jon Favreau, or whoever else on that creative team continue to create. I believe that this is just personal to me, because I was kind of like Zod. Well, I wasn't like Zod. I was one of those people that was like, I'm not gonna watch the prequels. Those are stupid. I was like everybody else on the internet. That's dumb. That's stupid. Ain't watched nothing until I turned around and watched it. And knowing what all the blood, sweat, and tears that John went through just to get those sequels out and to make them the way that they did, and to have those prequels, and then to see the backlash from the sequels, and then seeing people who have the love for Star Wars bring that back, it's getting me closer to Star Wars. It's getting me want to be like, hey, what are they gonna do next? Hey, I wouldn't have watched The Bad Batch, you know what I mean? But I'm watching it because I can see the love that they have for the story arc, for the characters, for this world. Yeah, I'm on board with it. So just let someone run the business side and let these guys continue to create great material.
That would be the way to get things done. And
I have spoken.
This is the way. To tell you the truth, my favorite movie is from the prequels. I think Revenge of the Sith is the best one.
Revenge of the Sith is I literally had this on my show where me and my brother, because my brother's a big Star Wars fan, he was like, dude, watch the prequels. I didn't watch the prequel series until Disney Plus dropped, because I wasn't going to buy it. I was totally against it, whatever. I watched it. Now, the first one, you know what I mean?
Phantom Menace.
Yeah, Phantom Menace was into the end, but then
Clone
Wars, Attack of the Clones, and then Revenge of the Sith, especially Revenge of the Sith. Oh my God, that's one of the greatest Star Wars movies ever. I don't care what nobody said. I would fight tooth and nail for that one.
It is my favorite.
I know Jedi. I mean, Empire Strikes Back is my definitive favorite because that's what I grew up on. That was the first Star Wars movie I seen. Was Empire Strikes Back, and that's a special place in my heart. But Revenge of the Sith, dude, I don't care what nobody say. That's my favorort. One of my favorites.
When you see them fighting at 2 miles per hour versus 200 miles per hour, I'm like,
yeah, the fights in the
man, they're gonna do better with the lightsaber fights, man. It's ridiculous.
And I'll say, I mean, Danny does have a point. We have not, well, since the prequels, we have not had a lightsaber fight that topped that. We had lightsaber moments like Darth Vader in the hallway, Luke in the hallway, but other than that, nothing.
I would argue though, in the sequel trilogy, the Red Room fight was decent. I liked it. In The Last Jedi.
What?
It was okay. It was okay.
It was okay.
It's not great, but I thought it was better than the OG because the OG is just like, ooh, I got a lightsaber. I'm gonna touch your lightsaber with mine.
You're wrong. How could you even say that?
Obi-Wan on first watch, that fight in the Red Room when they kill Snoke looks dope. But when you keep watching it over and over, you notice like all that sloppy choreography.
Yeah,
it's like dang. That's why look, if they're gonna do this, like some of these fights, the way they're doing them, get that John Wick stunt crew. Get the John Wick stunt crew if you want to film some close quarters fights with these lightsabers and stuff.
I hated the last John Wick. Oh,
you did?
Oh, because I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, that's a thing. You can't say that. You can't say that.
I sure can. All right. When is this over? I'm ready to go.
All right, Tim. What's the next movie you want to touch on? The Rey movie, or do you want to touch on the Dave Filoni Mandalorian movie?
Let's touch on the Dave Filoni. I feel like, because I know the Rey one's going to be divisive, but, I feel like he's never directed like a full feature film, which is kind of alarming, but then, he's kind of helmed this new generation of Star Wars or whatever. All these shows are kind of tying in together. So it would seem like it would be kind of a slam dunk where they can just kind of wrap up the Mandoverse, but I'm kind of cautiously optimistic because like Mando this season has been quite divisive, especially this last episode. It just like I'm conflicting with myself. It's just like, you keep holding on, Tim, just let go. Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. It's just like he hasn't done anything to this scale as films, but he's done TV shows. That
does carry over though, that experience that he's had, not just animated. Of course, he did the Avatar TV show for the first season, then he moved over to Clone Wars, took care of that for a long time. Very knowledgeable about Star Wars, which cannot be underrated, right? Then we look at the stuff that he did with a couple episodes of Mandalorian. So let's 40 minutes here, 40 minutes there. That's basically a whole movie. And then he did more episodes in season 2, and then he did a Boba Fett episode. He's combined himself maybe 3 hours of live action directing that spread out through years, and maybe Ahsoka as well. He's directed a whole lot of those. He has enough. He's done everything the right way. This is just the meaningful progression, and he hasn't been dropping the ball. That one episode with Cad Bane and Luke talking to Ahsoka, and that it was amazing. I'm not so worried. I'm actually this is the best progression of a director, the promotion, I should say. The ascension is the most logical path I've ever seen in the history of Hollywood. Dre's agreeing with me heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that, because it's like, to be honest, who else would you have direct something like this? Like he has the love. He's done these shows, and it's a movie like extension from this. So he seems like the right person to do this. Like, who else would you want? Like, to be honest,
George Lucas.
Yeah, George. Yeah.
And John Favreau, because he is a director. You know what I mean? He's a writer. He's a director. So I mean, other than that, Dave is a perfect person to be able to handle this. So
K-Dot, what do you think about the movie of Dave Filoni? He's going to be wrapping up the Mandalorian story.
I mean, anything Dave has been doing, I've not had any issue with yet. So I'm down for it. I mean, to see, and like I said, it was kind of obvious to see where this Mandalorian stuff was gonna culminate. Anyways, people did hint at a big movie. I was thinking maybe they're all trying to lead up to get to the Battle of Jakku to show this little midpoint, because the only character that we can see move on to the sequels, past the sequels, is Grogu, because Bo's gonna be dead.
Yeah.
Din's gonna be dead. I mean, he's gonna be old.
I'm gonna be dead.
Yeah. So, yeah, but my question is, when this movie is gonna culminate? I think they're gonna they might just redo that Battle of Jakku, try to make it to where Thrawn and Moff Gideon are a huge part of that battle, and that's where this arc ends. Ahsoka will be there, maybe Luke, and it's like a big culmination until they get to the sequels again.
Is that Battle of Jakku? Is that in any one of the books in the lore? Because I'm not really.
It's in a video game, the Battlefront video game.
Oh, the Battlefront.
It was in that sand planet. That was the Battle of Jakku.
Oh, because I got Battlefront. I never.
Did you play it?
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. I play it just so I can ride in a ship and shoot people. Online. That's all I ever played it for. He got a clip.
No, I was looking. Shoot, Danny, comic chat. Okay, Dave Filoni. Every single person here so far has been speaking him as high praise for him. Would you be like the fifth of the five of us to agree with that?
That's correct. I have faith in Filoni and Jon Favreau. I think if they're left alone and they consult with George Lucas, that we would get Star Wars gold. But when I think, and I'm just going by what I'm seeing and hearing, I think Kathleen Kennedy is the fly in that ointment. If they get rid of her or take back some of her power, I think that they can get back on track. But for whatever reason, she got to have her hand in the mix and got to have whatever agenda and all this kind of stuff. And I just think that she needs to just let it lie and then let these guys do what they're supposed to do. And making that stupid comment, to me, there's no source material. That's the dumbest shit I ever heard come out of her mouth. So they need to go back to the source material, comic books. I just went to the comic book store today, and lo and behold, what I see on the shelf, Darth Vader comic. So there is source material. So go there, cherry pick what you want. Just make sure it stays within canon. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of canon. I think that if you want to change it and you own it, you can change canon however you want to. But whether you do that or not, just make it good, make it compelling, and I'm gonna go watch it. And I'm gonna be one of those Star Wars fans. Tim said I'm the oldest on here, but the old.
Well, I'm 137, so
I got you. The Return of the Jedi to me is the worst. I don't like it. I can't stand the Ewoks. All that. When I see that, is quickly fast.
Better than the New Hope, Danny.
Do what?
Where are you? Wait,
I like New Hope better than.
What's up, guys? Scar.
Return of the Jedi, I sure do.
Man, these Ewok haters. I knew y'all Ewok haters.
that whole storyline. Some parts. For me, the best one out of all 9 movies, to me, is definitely Revenge of the Sith. I can watch that over and over and over.
It's
gangster. It's the best one.
In the progression that Anakin Skywalker, because this is where I was telling my brother the reason why I like that over Empire. Empire was the first one to let the bad guys win. Put it more like that in the major, trilogy. It was the first one that did that. With Revenge of the Sith, you see the progression of Anakin Skywalker from the first movie all the way to the third movie.
Yep.
How conflicted he was. And for me, I believe the Jedi Order was just as bad as the Sith Order, because all they had to do was make him a master. That's it. But just make him a master. It didn't matter. But they didn't. They did it, and they had their own reasons and stuff like that, and you created your own Frankenstein monster. And I absolutely freaking love it.
It's different if you make a decision in your house. It's a horse of a different color. If somebody else that's not in your house tells you to do what to do. No, ain't no man going for that. No, I'm down with that. you're gonna be a master when we say so, because we run this. Palpatine don't run this shit. So I don't have no problem. I don't have no problem with that.
And that's why I love the story so much, because of that progression, of that conflict. You never really see that conflict among good guys or a set in certain movies where you have that conflict was like, I just want to be and you're not allowing me to be. And the guy that you're supposed to believe in turns his back on you and becomes the thing that you hate the most. Totally dope. I'm sorry. Story-wise,
And then
that's great.
Yeah, and to add though, like Mace Windo's the douchebag.
Did you say Mace Windu, Tim? You said Mace Windu.
Mace Windu. Mace Windu.
Hey, why I gotta?
Yeah. No, but like you see where my head's going. Mace Windu was like the person that didn't want Anakin in, but then Mace Windu's a hypocrite in that instance. Like, no, let's kill him. We could end it all, but that's not the Jedi way. So he went, like, it showed that the Jedi Order was kind of corrupt or falling in their ways because they weren't consistent, right?
He has control of the Senate and the army. He's too dangerous to be left alive. He was spitting.
Yeah, but Jedi don't kill people. They needed like a proper way to, let them go through the whole system, right? That's what Anakin was kind of saying.
I just saw him kill 3 of your pals that you went to arrest him with. I think that
I know.
Yeah, not to mention, did not Anakin kill Dooku? Chopped his head right off, so he can't. That's the pot calling the kettle black.
I think I would be okay. I think the live chat, if we asked them, Mace Windu would have been totally justified if he sliced it. Dre, you agree with me?
I agree.
I agree.
If Kate, I think he's off, but I'm gonna ask him when he returns whether or not he believes.
The only thing I don't understand, but they say that the light side and the dark side is equal, but how can it be so powerful that it just clouds all of the Jedi? Even
the judgment, yes.
They couldn't see the future. They couldn't see the future. They couldn't. They said that Jedi force diminished. The dark side that strong.
It's cloudy. I think it's because it's the balance of it. There's just so much dark side in this one guy because there's not many others, which makes him so strong. Maybe.
Wow.
I can see that. I could do that. I can see that. If Felicity does make a good point. When she said it wasn't just a Jedi tag, the Jedi didn't have enough compassion for Anakin's situation. Why did no one attempt to get
Shimmy off of
Tatooine and out of slavery? And that's absolutely correct. Like it was a lot going on that built that Frankenstein monster
But part of their way is that you got to cut ties from all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that's part of their rules.
And that's why I love this story. That's what I'm talking about when good storytelling. Because I'm gonna be honest, I'm on Anakin's side on this one. I mean, I got a wife on the side, I got a baby mama. I got something. I got child support, baby. I need to be a master, and y'all hate me.
I think
the reason you need child support because you broke the rules.
Hey, look, I need it.
I think Qui-Gon should have personally in the first movie. Well, if it would have changed a lot, but he should have made an effort himself to also bring his mother with him. But you see later throughout the films, his mom staying with him on Coruscant so he can do his training. There's some people in the background doing some sneaky stuff to get his mom out the picture so you can cause that detachment, whether it be Sidious. She randomly falls off a building, throughout his journey on Coruscant trying to train. I think Qui-Gon himself definitely should have tried to get her out of slavery.
Yeah. Well, I think he tried, but he only get one. He said, I try to get your mother, but I can only get one from Watto or whatever the hell his name was. It was something like that. Watto.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong. That was his name. It's just his name.
Funny. Yeah.
Sorry, I had another screen open. Let's read some of these.
They shouldn't have killed Qui-Gon. I don't think. Kill him too early.
That shock value though, that does change the movie of Phantom Menace, man. I think it was a good enough reason to kill him.
I don't like. I like the fact. I'm kind of divided like I love seeing Darth Maul with the double blade lightsaber. That was epic, right?
Mhm.
But then like it's kind of like anticlimactic in a way that the fact that like yeah he defeated Maul because of his arrogance, and that's foreshadowing Anakin later on. But then again, it's like Darth Maul is wrecking these fools, both Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan at the same time. But then now
Yeah.
Obi-Wan's able to take him. You know what I mean? That's kind of it. Just I wish the fight would have been a little bit more played out, not just on just one gimmick or whatever. Not I don't want to say a gimmick. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like one moment because he seemed like this overpowered being, not overpowered, but it was cool. But like how can Obi-Wan take on Darth Maul when Darth Maul was wrecking these fools like 5 minutes earlier?
Because he Space Jesus.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, Obi-Wan to me always had plot armor. Like
So he's Batman.
Super plot armor. Especially in Clone Wars. It's not to say Obi-Wan had skills and stuff, but like that fight in the prequels, while any seems people make, Maul should have won that fight.
Yeah, that fight was luck in the prequels, but then once he grown, then I think I read a book said he becomes the master of the style 2, whatever the hell you call those different Jedi style.
Right.
So that's why he was able to beat him in Rebels when they met, because he had done studied that fight and he tried that same move to kind of lure Maul in that Qui-Gon did, and then that's why he was able to defeat him.
That prequel fight was
luck.
That is what you call luck. He was lucky that Maul got cocky and did something dumb. He got very lucky. Not many people get that lucky in life.
Sometimes that happens, bro.
Sometimes you knock Mike Tyson out. Sometimes he knocks you out.
That's right.
Anzo's in the building.
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Chilling. What's up? So that fight, what you're talking about with Darth Maul and Obi-Wan gets the better of him by doing the flip. That's actually a foresight to what happens in Revenge of the Sith, right? Because in the Revenge of the Sith, he gets the high ground, and it's basically to show that he was a little bit more level-headed than Anakin was, and Anakin was being "I'm better than you" type of thing, so I can do it, and we seen what happened when he tried, right?
Fried ribs.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Yeah, that's why Anakin had them skills. If it was the guy from Force Unleashed, he wouldn't have got by Obi-Wan like that. That high ground stuff.
Also, the movie we were just asking about was the Dave Filoni film. Of the three, I'm the most confident in this one. How do you feel? Your thoughts completely on this Dave Filoni new proposed film that will wrap up the story he and Jon Favreau are working on. The Skeleton Crew, Ahsoka, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett will wrap here.
I'm at the point where I gotta wait and see before I have any it's gonna be bad or it's gonna be good, because I'm disappointed with a lot of the stuff Disney Star Wars is doing. So I have to wait and see. I'm not excited about it, but I'm not like I don't care either. I'm in between.
Well, it should be interesting.
The next movie, the final movie, the third movie. Actually, let's read live chats before we go. She says here that Maul should have been the overall undervillain through the prequels. Trinity's in the building. Obi-Wan was extremely focused during round 2. That's how he beat Anakin. He was on defense for the whole fight up until the very end. Rogue says those prequels are an affront to modern cinema and should be burned at the stake.
Wow.
There's Mike. I'm surprised Mike wasn't in here earlier talking this crap when you guys started on the prequels. But Mike is absolutely wrong. Prequels are good.
Hey, I uninvited Mike to this stream when we were playing Fortnite a few hours ago. He cannot come. I have spoken. Let me find my clip. I can't, for some reason, I just can't find my I have spoken. Every time it came up, I never find it.
I have spoken.
Yeah, I used to have it.
I have spoken.
All right.
You're not.
Hey, them Ugnuts, man, was rude. I think Den should slap one of them. They were speaking out of turn.
Wow.
The last movie is Last for a Reason. It is the Rey, Return of the Rey. From what I'm hearing,
Return of the Rey.
Rey Palpatine.
Ray Bay.
Palpatine, delete the franchise.
Ray Bay, she just lost her
It's
lover.
not the Mario. It's
We'll
not
find
the
out
Mario.
whether or not the fan theory, or at least it's my theory, that when what's his name resurrected her, he put his hand right there, and that life force there for a woman, you know, that's where babies come from. And it's just a theory.
I never knew that. Thank you, Chill.
I've never done that either.
She about to give birth to a new space Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, she already is a space Jesus, like Anakin in a sense, different birth, but you know.
No, I'm trying to see who Palps was pouncing. That's who I'm trying to find out. Who was Palps popping? You know what I'm saying? Whose cheeks was clapping to make it?
I don't even want to
Get
see
that
that.
lineage. I want to see that movie.
I don't even want to see that.
It was Sith wizard stuff. I was making a point though. Oh yeah, well, because it's 15 years later, if she does have a child, we'll learn about that in this movie. The 15-year jump is a bit weird to me. That last movie happened in 2019, and we're expected to get this in the summer of next year of 2024. So really, only in 5 years she's supposed to have aged 15. That's a lot, and she's not like a man who can have a gray beard or something that will make us feel like, okay, yeah, I can see how they got older. It'll be different to age. I don't know why 15 years is so essential, but that's the decision that they're making. Fine.
I don't think they'll age her up at all.
Yeah.
Well, they have to. She's going to be 15 years older.
She might be a little bit more
Life
thicker.
just
Well,
No, you know what? Actually, hold on. Let me bring that back. The
Look at
movies.
Bo-Katan.
Well,
True.
but that's a lot more.
That
than
is true, and she doesn't look that old.
The movies.
Bo-Katan's like 40-some.
Bo-Katan or the actress?
The actress.
Both.
Katie Sackhoff.
Okay,
Yeah.
but she is
Both.
older in the show too.
Because it's
Din
been
Djarin
three-
is
it's-
like 30-ish.
Yeah, it's been like
Yeah.
3 decades between
Yeah, 'cause
the
Clone Wars. Yeah, exactly.
So what you're trying to say is that it's all inconsistent, so that two wrongs make a
No.
right.
Okay, Bo-Katan, like we know she's older, but she doesn't look old, right? She's not. I think Ray's probably gonna be in. I don't know. She was like 18, 19, whatever. She gonna be, closer in her 30s. I don't think she needs to look that drastically old. They can just put some makeup on her, make her skin kind of wrinkly a little bit, show little bags under her eyes. She don't need to make her old.
Or
I got
just
my
don't-
doubts.
No, just don't have her put on makeup during set, and she'll be fine.
Yeah,
That's not right.
Jedis don't wear makeup anyway.
Yeah, I don't think the age thing is going to be a problem.
Not the Jedi way, but the age thing also is not as I put it out. The first and second movie happen on the same day, and then that third movie happens. Apparently, it's supposed to only be a 1 year removed from the prior.
Something like
So even though the first movie was released in the year 2015, we could pretend like Daisy Ridley's age is really like from 2016 all the way to 2024. So like she'll have aged 8 years, and they'll say 15. Okay, it's still a problem to me. The discrepancy for what Katie Sackhoff and her character of Bo-Katan is, it doesn't matter because it's so much older that I can like see it, I can forgive it. But when someone's in their 20s, that age difference is a different. The gap is different. It matters more, and it's going to be weird. Listen, why we don't know. I don't trust this regime. The people who are in charge of this, I don't know why they want to tell us that that Rey is doing what Luke couldn't, which is restore the Jedi Academy. He never had.
Make her better than Luke.
He had
make her better than Luke.
Luke had Obi-Wan to mentor him for a little bit. Had Yoda. We don't know how long he spent on the Dagobah, but Luke had access to these people. Rey. Does Rey have a Force Ghost? Did Force Ghost Luke ever talk to her? Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so through Luke, then I guess she can just repeat what he tells her to do, or practice what he teaches her. Luke and Leia, actually, she can see Leia. Remember at the end of the movie? So there we go. That's something.
And Yoda too.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see what they do, man. I think they're gonna have to really do some good stuff to redeem Rey because a lot of people didn't like her from the sequel trilogy. So, and man, she was.
I don't like the sequel trilogy and the erasure of old stuff, the freaking changing of new screenwriters. Rey, though, the character of Rey can be redeemed. It's not over for Rey.
Oh, of course she can. Of
right?
course
You
she
can make some interesting stuff with her.
Yeah. Absolutely, she can be redeemed 100%.
Comic chat. Okay, I thought you were done. Go ahead, Anzo.
No, I was just gonna say, but I think a lot of the stuff they did with her is what put a bad taste in people's mouth by making her take the Skywalker name and all kinds of stuff like that. I don't know how they're gonna redeem that part, but it's possible.
Rey was wrote with so little that she was like a blank slate for this new team. Luke didn't even like Rey.
He was kind of like drinking whatever that milk was, but like whatever. Read.
Please do not remind me about that milk.
Space cow milk.
Yeah.
You need one train that girl.
You know.
Danny, what you want to say about this? Dave, I mean the Rey movie is going to be directed by Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, who did Ms. Marvel, so that's something.
I'm with Anzo. I'm gonna have to wait and see on that one. I'm not excited about that one as much as I am the first two. I'm definitely interested in wanting to see the Mandalorian. What that's gonna culminate to. I'm gonna wait and see, but I feel fairly confident saying this: if the first two gonna be good, then I think the third one will be good as well.
Well, the first is actually going to be Rey. Like her movie is the most soonest to releasing.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be the last one. I don't know. I'm gonna have to wait to see. I gotta see the trailer first. If I see the trailer and the trailer look like Ahsoka did, then I might be on board. If it don't, then I might be.
Tim's the only one cheerleading because everyone else here is like, no, the Rey movie isn't top priority.
I don't think so.
Dre?
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to. I'm not saying I'm not looking forward to that,
but it's the least priority.
It's it's probably the least. It's the least priority.
Take care, Danny.
All right, man. It's the least of my priorities. I want to wrap the Mandalorian up. That's what I'm looking forward to. That whole thing, because we're on it now, and we've been fans for the last 3 years, and it just seems like, oh, here goes Rey. You know, I mean, but you know, we'll see. We'll see.
Take that, Tim. Nobody wants to see your Rey load.
No, dude. Let me be honest about it. Like, dude, like Ben Solo, I would rather see his origin story than to see this movie. To be honest, like, they do that in the
comics, if I'm not mistaken. The Marvel comics has a story.
That seems kind of interesting. But this, man, you know, the fandom's already divided. But you know, like Anzo was saying, you know, a redemption story can be good. And, you know, is Broom Boy going to be the big baddie? You know, they don't give us any premise. Like, we know she started in the Jedi Order, but, like, who's the big baddie in this? You know, you have to have a big baddie. And where are they going to come from? They were non-existent. Now they're existent 15 years later.
Again.
So, you know what I mean? What are they going to bring Palpatine it back again? He's going to be crawling to the grave. Oh, I don't know, but...
Well, I mean, look at even Ahsoka. Now they got these random Sith that just pop up now. Because from what it looks like, you know, the Sith haven't returned until the sequel trilogy. Like in general, they got these random Sith in Ahsoka, which is between, you know, now to the sequel trilogy.
I think they should just leave the Rey stuff alone, end it, and move on to something else. You know what I mean?
Right. Go even farther.
Yeah.
Just let her make the Jedi Order, but you don't gotta like
you can reference it, right, in a future movie that's not really connected, but is connected in a way.
But what does that mean?
No, I agree. Like, I would prefer they move like 100 years forward or farther, where they don't ruin like the Skywalker lineage. Yeah, make a reference to Rey, but like, you know, start over. Pretty much, and that's what I think. To me,
I'm afraid the more you move forward, the more opportunity you have to ruin things. Like I love that the sequel trilogy and that car crash happened within this span on the timeline. It was so little, minuscule, and we can just skip it. I don't want to know.
Well, look at it like this. Like, let's say they go 3,000 years into the future, right? Let's say 3 or 2, whatever. At that point, so much history has passed that yes, they can refer all the way back to Luke. But how important will Luke be in 3,000
A
years?
lot could be. A lot could still happen. You don't even think about it. The First Order and how they're still around 35 years after Return of the Jedi actually makes it seem like Luke and his accomplishment wasn't so big, because look, there's still these stormtrooper guys fighting the bad fight, and I dislike that. I think it's worrisome when you think about going into the future too hard. We got the Dramax show, who was here, but he's going to be leaving soon. Give me your final take on this before you part ways.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I do kind of agree with Kate just a little bit when he's talking about going into the future. But what's going to happen is that you go too far in the future, then you're going to want what happened within that period of time, and then I mean, it gives you more material. Then you could be able to talk about what happened between 3,000 years after Ray died or whatever. So he gives you that material. But I do believe that you're going to have to wrap up this edition of all of this to start going towards the future, and I think that's what I'm looking forward to. At the same time, we got a lot of stuff that we got to make sure that we wrap up now. So let's do that. And hey, let's I'm looking forward to it though. I'm getting back into the fandom, so I'm with it.
Yes. Check out the Dramax show. He streams mornings right around 7:30 Eastern Standard.
6:30 Central Time, 7:30 East Coast Time. I'm in the Midwest, so But check me out. You know what I mean? I appreciate you guys for having me on, man. And vibe higher to everybody.
Peace, brother.
Let's see. We did the 3 movies. Is there anyone who wants to add on this topic, this specific topic about this 3rd movie?
No, I think I said everything. I think.
Has anything else been released in Star Wars Celebration? I don't care about the Lucasfilm, Indiana Jones. That's not my cup of tea. A couple of Andor interviews. I know Kathleen Kennedy had her interview yesterday, and that video just got posted. And I was reading the comment section underneath there. The fans were not really cheering for her. Like, the audience was all good, but then she sits down and they're done cheering. Every other actor, it's like once they sit down and the music stops, there's still people going, yeah, whoo, hooray. And then, what's Grief Karga's Apollo Creed? What's his name? That actor? Carl Weathers was on fire, man. He was just giving the best interview, turning around. Oh, the audience on this side can't see me. And everyone was cheering for him. He did some great interview work. Star Wars Celebration, it's a happy thing. I loved, and that was just day one, but I loved seeing all of it. Diego Luna was cool, and Tony Gilroy. Everyone did their thing. It was a good moment.
It was streamed, Chill?
Yeah, it was actually live streamed. If you go on Star Wars channel, go to the live. I thought it wasn't going to be streamed this year. I could have sworn I heard that report.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was live streamed.
It's going on right now. In it, I thought I saw Echo Base Network. They were covering footage today. It's been going on in the mornings, kind of till 1 or 2. They start really early at 7 a.m.
Yeah, I'm just gonna check out the live stream, and they'll put the chapters of what happened when. So when they want to say we're talking to the Lego guy, I'll just skip that. But when they're sitting down with Dave Filoni, I'll watch that. That's how I've been covering it this week. And that trailer for Ahsoka, magnifique.
It was good.
Yeah. All you Rebels fans, revel in this Rebels.
I'm still worried about it though. I'm still worried about it.
Your heart is black.
If they ruin Ahsoka for me, I think I'm out. I think that's it for me.
That's not gonna happen.
Ahsoka's my last hope.
I'm kind of with Anzo on this in a way. I think the trailer's dope, but I'm cautiously optimistic based on what we've gotten. Obi-Wan was my last hope. It's my favorite Star Wars character of all time, and look what they did to him. And then the Book of Boba Fett, and then Mando this season has been divided or not favorable kind of for me. There's some good elements and there's other WTF moments. So I'm worried. But then again, Ahsoka is Dave Filoni's child, so I don't think he's gonna ruin this character. The trailer does look dope, but I'm just kind of pushing it back a little bit. You know, I should be more. I'm really excited, but then again, another part of my head, objective part, is saying, look what they've done to these projects. Look at yeah.
I'm right there with you, Tim. I'm right there with you.
The objective side of my head is saying,
that's gross.
I am my favorite YouTuber. Okay, because of what Felicity just wrote about, they kept the comments open. Well, we're gonna watch people. We're gonna watch the comment section of the Kathleen Kennedy Star Wars Celebration video. So this is what I was talking about. When she walks up into the building, she is waving and everything. But listen to the audience as soon as the music's. Wait, play. I don't want to be copywritten.
Some of their faces. Like, who is she?
Not much clapping. This more so just like, oh, we're observing this woman enter, but slowly. It's not that hype. And then when she sits down, everyone stops. There's a guy over here who's telling them to wave and cheer, but he does that for everyone. So don't, that's not like a picky thing. I'm going to say. Here.
Thank you so much for joining.
They're done.
This is great.
Quiet.
Everybody looks so good. I walked the floor this morning. I saw.
And then she compliments them and she tries to get a little bit of cheers. Yeah, it's not that hype. Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of people blame her for the reason why Star Wars is where it is today. You know what I mean? So.
Word. For some reason, the comments went away. Here we go. All right. We all can see it. It's nice and big.
All
right, cool. It says, KK's message, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. Even ruin Star Wars. Frank G. What an ass. Okay. Ray Costello, he says, would love to see the ratio on this video. Yeah, we can't see the dislikes anymore. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to contribute to the dislikes. What am I talking about?
You know
what? You see, Kathleen, I was called toxic hater at first, but now they all see the world through my eyes. I don't know what she's talking about. Step down, Kathy. Let Filoni and Favreau take over. Hey, I support that. I remember when she and JJ lied, saying they didn't have any source material when they were making the sequel trilogy. Yeah, Danny just mentioned that. They had George's first drafts for a sequel trilogy. Also, they have Timothy Zahn's Thrawn trilogy, but they did not use any of them. They chose to lie and play the victim, saying fans are toxic. I miss watching George talk about Star Wars and his vision and his story. Look at this. Why would they let the least biggest Star Wars fan in the room take the mic? I question if she knows anything at all about Star Wars, to be honest. Can we find something positive? How can so many people cheer for someone who keeps making the wrong choices for something they love? Hayden was supposed to show up on stage this morning, but we got Catholic.
Oh, man.
The fact she's still around is crazy. I like how hardly any people clapped or cheered. Darthleen Kennedy Palpatine is the most hated. A truly ghoulish woman. Damn, that was harsh. You got 30 likes. Comments are going to be good on this. You're right. They sure are. Please welcome the executioner of Star Wars. Disney should read this comment section. It shows how strongly fandom feels about her. She boldly lied to George Lucas. The person who almost nosedived an entire franchise into... Is someone saying something? What do you want to say?
No, I was going to say absolutely 100% she did. She did. If you watch that interview where they're talking about selling it, she's like, we got to stay true to George's characters. And she was giving all the right words, saying she's going to honor George Lucas. And the minute it was sold, it changed. Everything changed.
Yeah, she has an answer somewhere in this interview that says something like, we got to honor George and we love George and what he gave us was important and what he gives us we treat with reverence. And I'm like, hell no. There were some treatments that he gave you when he sold it and you decided not to use the force, the wills, and you just did your own story with JJ.
And you know what the worst part about that is, K-Dot? Let's just say okay, the story wasn't that good. They could have still took elements and did what George wanted, but switched it up to be maybe a better. But they just completely ignored everything, man.
I'm not giving you anything.
Because I think George can pitch this thing. George can probably pitch a great story. We know when it gets down into the nitty gritty of writing each part of it, that's where he can mess up at. But I bet you whatever story he pitched, was far superior than whatever they decided to run with, because they could have
Guaranteed.
did pitch their own story. They did their own writing for it. If they needed to fix some stuff in between, cool. But they kind of should have kept whatever pitch he was doing and those
Guaranteed.
beats of it, because they would have. I what they should have played it safe for that trilogy. Not say they need to play too safe, but play it safe enough to where we're not in a position we're in now. They didn't play it safe. They tried to take a risk. Risks are fine, but the risks they took, those ain't risks. That's just you completely jumping off the cliff.
Character assassination.
Yeah, I mean, you just completely jumped off the cliff. You didn't care. You didn't listen to nobody. You just did it to do it.
Well, I would have to disagree and say that they actually didn't take any risk, because what they did with The Force Awakens is just made a rehash of Star Wars. Like, they didn't really take.
Well, once they got The Last Jedi in episode 9.
Yeah, that once they did that, they had to course correct by that point, right?
Yeah.
But what George Lucas has always said is that each trilogy is supposed to be different from the next. They're not supposed to be the same kind of trilogy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And what they did was just rehashed everything George did. So that's where they didn't take the risk.
Yeah, I saw like leaks of the Colin Trevorrow script. That seemed a little bit more profound than what we got in The Rise of Palpatine, or whatever. I don't know if you've seen that. The Colin Trevorrow, like
the ancient Sith Force, not Sith.
Yeah.
An evil Force user. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole video about it. Someone put together like comic book looking images and like does great voiceover for it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot better what we got. So
send the link for that, Tim. Do you know the link? Send the link.
Yeah, I got it. I can let me pull it up, dude. It like they give one of the Knights of Ren the dark saber, and the Knights of Ren actually have Force somewhat abilities, but they don't. Yeah, there's an anime aspect to them as well, but they're actually relevant characters in the plot, and like they actually give Rey the double bladed lightsaber like she should have, and there's just a lot more payouts to like The Force Awakens or whatever. The Force Awakens I do like, but it like An's right, it's like a rehashing of The New Hope. It was very safe, but I think it was a good start. But then after that, man, I was just like, what are they doing?
What are you doing? Yeah, I know. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love Star Wars. I always will, right? So I'll always be there to watch it. I don't go in to hate watch and be like, oh, this is going to be garbage. I go in there praying that I enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to enjoy this. I want to watch a Star Wars movie or a show where I'm just like, yeah, no, this is fire.
Yeah. I sort of want to enjoy the Acolyte, but I'm like, it's the Acolyte, it's whatever. High Republic.
I don't think as much as I want the Acolyte to be what I wanted to be, I don't think it's going to be what I want it to be, because I want to be a completely like villain, evil.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be like about a Sith, and then they turn good at the end. Like, I want to be completely about the Sith. Like, no, Jedi's being the antagonist, obviously. But it's following the Sith. That's what I hope it's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be like that, some last minute change of heart stuff.
I agree. I really hope it's like that too. That would be cool if like they show the actual show on the villain perspective. Right. You know what I mean? Where they're doing all the bad stuff and how they're trying to take over the galaxy. I think that would be so interesting to do.
The link that Tim was talking about is now in the live chat for everyone to watch. Someone in the live chat, Felicity, asked me to leave a comment, and I'm saying, gotta give it to her. She has courage.
She's brave. Stunning and brave.
I don't even know if it's courage. I just think she's naive to the fact that people don't like her, man. You know what I mean? I think she's just naive to it. And like, yeah, my movie still made over $1 billion. So even though there's haters out there, everybody loves me. Yes, Star Wars is my baby. Nah,
because she goes by the numbers, and a lot of these companies, once they see, oh, there's so much engagement. It's like with the Transformers movies, they thought, oh, we're making $1 billion movies. People are really engaged and care about us. We're going to keep making more. They didn't really factor in who truly the audience was. Your audience was China. None of us was really your audience when you was making those Transformers movies. You know, I think that's where her naive. That's where she's being naive at. That she thinking off the numbers, everyone loves her, but Star Wars, not like the DC fandom that's completely divided, but it can get to that point with this Star Wars stuff right now. It's like really divided. You know, Star Wars at the point, you know, the content, like the prequels may have had its issues and stuff, but regardless of that, the fandom was still more united. Yeah, Star Wars fans are toxic to some degree, a few, but the fandom was not broken like it is now. It was never like this up until the sequels.
And you know what? They could have still, like, let's say they wanted to do, you know, the race stuff and all this stuff. They could have done everything they did, but they didn't have a complete story. And that was the biggest issue. It was like, okay, we'll do this one. Let's do this. And then you do what you want, Rian Johnson. And then when nobody liked what Rian Johnson did, it's like, okay, we need JJ to come back and fix it, you know? Like, they didn't have a complete story. George Lucas has mapped out his 3 trilogies before he even started shooting the first one.
Acolyte the showrunner's pitch was, this is Frozen meets Kill Bill. And I'm meh on that. I've seen leaked footage. I am too. I'm just worried if they break canon or do something with the Yoda character that's unbefitting. Jared says that...
Didn't they say Acolyte was about 2 siblings? I think that's where they're talking about the Frozen thing. Because the Frozen's about 2 siblings and they're, you know, one treated better than the other.
All right. Kathleen Kennedy should have walked out and said, "Celebration, acknowledge me." Wrestling reference. I get it. You get that too, right, Anzo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Frozen meets Kill Bill. What does that even mean? Not Star Wars to me. The showrunner doesn't have a good track record either. Yeah, I think 2 sisters are a starting point for this series. I'll take it, bro. That would end
that's where the
this
Frozen aspect comes in.
That's where the Frozen aspect comes in. Amanda Stenberg has a sister somewhere. Maybe it's a twin sister and she's playing 2 characters. She's stretching her acting chops, because I did not hear of a second sister being casted in that series.
Yeah, because
Tim, I'm not. You remember that Knights of the Old Republic trailer with the 2 brothers?
I did.
Yeah.
What I have a feeling they're about to do that. I have a feeling it's gonna be that.
Do it.
But slightly altered.
Yeah. They do that. Naruto had it with Sai and Sai's brother who was dying. Remember that thing when they were kids? They do it. It happens. It's a story.
Well, you got like Daphne King or whatever, which, man,
he's an acolyte.
She's developed,
but she cannot be sister though. She's because like if they're from the same parents, they wouldn't be sisters.
Yeah.
Well, sisters are weird in Star Wars. Bad Batch has Omega. Spoilers, but Omega has a sister, so who knows?
Yeah.
Okay,
so maybe they're just kind of like best friends or something.
They took the audience for granted and thought that they could do anything and call it Star Wars. Now it's all a troll job, just like She-Hulk. You guys hate when we did, so we will give you more of that. Bro, the Rey movie, I might not pay money to watch it just because I don't want to enforce that. Like, I don't want to give them money. I don't want to promote it. And I want the Dave Filoni money.
I don't want to support Rey.
I don't want to support
especially knowing what they did. Right, especially knowing what they did, you know, making her Rey Skywalker and all of the, you know, just destroying the original characters. I'm with you on that one. I want to avoid that one too.
And I may change my mind. You know, we're way early. There's not even a trailer. There's nothing. We don't know. There's a lot we don't know. But I'm like, man, this was one I can probably wait for, the sequel kind of era. Yo, subscribe to me because I'm awesome. Subscribe to Onzo because he's awesome. Bigger Fred Entertainment is the channel. SSJ K. Sanctum is that channel. She's going to be streaming. Let me think. A video game today.
I will be streaming on Kick later, but today me and Nerdman gonna do a Shazam Fear the Gods watch party.
You know, I seen that comment in the chat, and I was just like, I am not watching that movie again. I'm sorry. Nope.
Hey,
nope.
Nerdman just tweeted the Darla actress, and she hit him back up.
Yeah. He put that in there too.
Here we go, Tim.
See, that doesn't happen with MCU fans. MCU actors don't interact with the fans. Our DC actors do.
I wanted to pivot to the Star Wars and Tim, and you wanted to pivot it over to the MCU. Take your shot, get it in. Okay, K. Fine.
Hold on. I got one more. You know why that is, K-Dot? Because the MCU actors are busy doing MCU movies, and the DC actors ain't got nothing else to do.
Nah, they just multitasking.
Tim's talk about yourself.
Yeah, we're gonna talk unfortunately about the Mandalorian on Sunday at 8 p.m. ET. I'm gonna do more of the state of Star Wars thing because I feel like it. I talked a little bit about it last night. I feel like it's like one of those moments where we sit Mando down, and all the friends confront him like, "What's going on, bro? What's going on?" So we're gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do a recap of the Star Wars Celebration news probably on Monday. Just something to talk about because there's a lot of things. We're technically on day 2, and then they're gonna drop news on Sunday. So other than that, just kind of random streams. Got to get the watch hours up for monetization. But yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Tim. We're out. Toodles.